5th of July 2025, our second ever visit to Mansfield parkrun. Our previous visit here was all the way back in 2012. A flat 3-loop parkrun, but please comment below, is this right or wrong? Would you allow this on your feet?
3, 2,
You go, Dawn.
1, go!
For this brief moment in parkrun history, I was actually in the lead.
After me hogging all the limelight for the last 2 weekends at Withensea and Scarborough, the star of today's parkrun video is Dawn. Now, I've just started a course of antibiotics. I thought I would give this a smack and see how I got on. There's me just passing Dawn now, seeing if I could maintain 20-minute pace. We'll see what happened to me in a minute. But over to Dawn and her run.
So after my exciting start of being in the lead for all of a few seconds, you can see I've now fallen into third position, or third lady. So on my Abingdon Marathon plan on week 1, I had for me to do a parkrun at tempo stroke threshold pace, so John chose this nice flat course for me to give it a go.
Now, I said we'd been here once before, all the way back in 2012, so I had a little delve into the archives to see what that told us about our previous visit. I was first finisher. I'd completely forgotten.
Yeah, right.
And Dawn was 7th overall, but second lady. Could she overcome the heartache of missing out on that first lady finisher all those years ago and achieve the top spot today? Well, as we said earlier, she is currently residing in 3rd place in the female race.
It's a run, John, not a race.
Absolutely.
So don't tell me you don't go looking at your old stats, eh? But I won't tell anybody.
You weren't too shabby back then either. Yes, the Park Race website is a mine of fascinating historical statistical information.
So I'm enjoying my run here, and I am running just below my lactic threshold 2.
Which, for those of you who don't follow these things, is the pace Dawn could maintain for an hour, which put into minutes per mile would be around 7:25 to 7:30, depending on the weather. And on the weather, it was a little bit humid today. It was about 20 degrees, but we are in early July and experiencing some pleasant summer weather this year.
The course is a mixture of tarmac and some compact gravel, and because of the shoes I was wearing, I preferred to run on the grass at this point. I'm still enjoying my run and keeping it under control. I'm still in 3rd place, but I'm not really bothered about that. I'm keeping my run controlled as per my marathon plan.
Yes, I said we last came here in 2012, and it was very much like going back in time in parkrun world. We had a nice low-key introduction from the run director, marshals positioned sparsely around, lovely and encouraging, all a very low-key feel. When we last came, I think there were 37 runners. Today it was up to around 100, so it's not grown massively or exponential like many parkruns. It retains that old school parkrun feel of just a few dozen people running around the park, enjoying themselves, making friends and getting their weekend off to a fantastically positive start.
A nice little section here, just going through a little bit of woodland, and then we are out back onto the tarmac.
Yes, this run takes place at Manor Park in Mansfield Woodhouse. There is plenty of parking right near the start and finish line of the parkrun, and it is a park that is used extensively. There was a kiddies football tournament going on the day that we ran this parkrun, 5th of July. So just going through the wooded section in a minute, you do a very short part of the course. Here he is. Thank you, Marshall, encouraging everybody. You're on the pavement there for about 5 yards and then return into Manor Park.
So we're just speeding through now until I get to the 1 kilometre mark. I went through the first kilometre in 4 minutes 30, which was pretty much bang on what I was looking for.
Yes, part of the pre-course setup each week at Mansfield parkrun involves putting out accurate kilometre markers around the course, so huge thanks to the volunteers who did that and every other volunteering role today. It really does help when you're trying to pace a run like this and you're not having to rely on your sports watch being in sync with the course measurements. You can actually take it as the course is measured by the organisers.
So we're having some wonderful weather here in the UK at the moment. However, when we set off from home in Yorkshire, it was pretty overcast and we'd had a little bit of rain. But by the time we got to Mansfield and the start of the parkrun, the sun was shining once again, but the humidity was quite high. But who's going to complain? When sun shines out, it's glorious, and I just love these summer days. To this point in the run, I was still in third female position, but that's just about to change. The female in black just ahead is about to pull over, so the lady in white goes past, and then so do I. As you can see, I'm not far behind the second female there who's wearing the white t-shirt. We seem to be running at a similar pace. So yeah, it's quite comfortable for me at this point, and I can see I'm getting a bit closer to the female in white. And it's not going to be long before I actually go past her.
And about 50 yards ahead, I've decided trying to run a sub-20 parkrun on antibiotics isn't a fantastic idea. I went through 1k in about 4:12. I've decided to slow down, wait for Dawn, and then take some GoPro footage of her run. So we're just bending a right here. This fella in the black top said hello to us before the run, so it's nice to speak to you about YouTubing and running.
And somehow I've now found myself in first female position. So what do I do about this? Do I push on hard, or do I stick to my plan of running tempo effort? Well, currently I've decided I'm just going to stick to my plan, and I'm going to run a tempo effort, and so be it. If I finish in first, that's great, but if I don't and the female goes past me or anybody else goes past me, it doesn't really matter.
Just past the finish area there. Remember, this is a 3-lap course, so we've got 2 more full laps of the park to do. I think you can just see me in a light blue top ahead, slowing down, waiting for Dawn to catch me up so I can film her doing this tempo effort. And here's the view from up front. So the fella in black who spoke to us before the run is now becoming a star of this particular video. A lovely summer's day now as we take on the second lap of Manor Park Mansfield.
As I said, I was deciding to stick to my plan of running at a tempo effort, and I felt that I could keep this pace going for the next lap and the next lap after that.
When we go around the country visiting these park runs, we like to find a little bit out about famous people from that area and some of the famous events associated with that area. So the town of Mansfield, one person from Mansfield I was particularly intrigued to find out about was a man called John Wetton. Now, John Wetton was an athlete. He ran in the 1500 metres finals in both the 1964 and 1968 Olympic Games and won the gold medal at the 1969 European Championships. And all this was despite holding down a full-time job as a teacher. He said in an interview I read that was his one regret. He reckoned had he been able to live a lifestyle of a full athlete, he might have achieved even more. But yeah, big shout out to John Wetton, who, according to Wikipedia, is still alive today at the age of 83. And the other thing that attracted me about John Wetton was reading that he was a regular training partner of Ron Hill in the early 1960s when they were both at the University of Manchester. Now, I've said before, Ron Hill is, to my mind, the greatest distance runner this country has ever produced. So, nice connection there with the great Ron Hill.
So while John was talking about athletes from a different period, I went through the second kilometre in 4:32, so I'm maintaining my pace.
So Mansfield was very well known in the 1980s for its independent brewery. People of my age may well remember the advert "Not Much Matches Mansfield." I went a stage further and commandeered the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, in their advertising campaign that he might be the most powerful person in the world, but he'd never had a pint of Mansfield. Sadly, the Mansfield Brewery is no longer with us, but what is with us is the Mansfield parkrun, been going strong since 2012, and we're halfway through the second lap now, and Dawn is still maintaining the pace and effort that she set out at. And I'm making myself useful, acting as a mobile cameraman. I think I'm about to come up here on the left, and you'll see how the magic happens here. There we go. I've got the GoPro in my hand, Dawn has the Insta360 on her head, so we get action from both angles. Quick swap over of the Insta there, and I'm now in charge of both cameras. So I'm wearing the Insta cap on my head, so Dawn's in front. I've also got the GoPro in my hand to take some footage of the last lap and a half. Compliment from the tail walker here as we passed her, said she enjoyed watching the videos. I said, well, you're going to be on this one, so here we go as promised.
Thank you. You'll be on this one.
Through through kilometre 3 and you can see we're maintaining a very even pace, which is very easy to do on a course like this.
Now then viewers, here's letting you in to a little secret. Before we came to this parkrun we saw that the female 60 to 64 record stood at 23:20, and if Dawn maintains this pace for the next 2 kilometres she's going to break it. And we do like to see an attempt on a course record on these parkrun videos on occasions. And we travel through space and time to kilometre number 4, which is coming up on the right now. Lo and behold, we have another consistent kilometre split of 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Yes folks, if Dawn can peel off another kilometre like that, then I think we are going to see history made today at Mansfield parkrun, the 5th of July. That female 60 to 64 record is now under threat, so go on Dawn, power through these woods, power around that corner, and then it's the final glory leg home to the finish. Also remembering folks that Dawn is still in the first female position. We looked round, or I looked round actually because I do that a lot, and the lady in white wasn't dropping off very much, so there was still a chance that she could come back. So Dawn has, in this final kilometre, the female 60 to 64 record at Mansfield to go for, and to try and maintain this first female position in this parkrun. Remember, when she came in 2012, she finished second female despite finishing 7th overall. Can she grab that first place finish that she missed out on 13 years ago? We've got the cameras still rolling to record this potentially historic moment in Mansfield parkrun history. We're just about to ease past this runner on the right here I think, and then it is into the final 200 or 300 yards of this run. I think we've got this corner to go through, this little bridge over a stream, and then we can see the finish line across this field. And at this point the Insta battery dies. Did not realise it at the time, but fortunately I had the GoPro and I was determined to take these action shots of Dawn in the final few hundred yards of this run, powering into the finish and that potential course record. Let's see how she gets on. And here we are in the final 50 yards. I just checked the battery once more. Yes, we have life. Dawn is about to turn onto the grass and cross the finish line in a time of 22:54, making her first female today, 84.72% age grading, and that female 60 course record taken by 26 seconds. So a productive morning out.
Yes, and I stuck to my plan, which was to run this at a tempo pace as part of my marathon training plan. But of course I had to have a little bit of increase in pace at the end. Everybody does at a parkrun.
So thank you to all the volunteers at Mansfield parkrun. We had a thoroughly enjoyable morning out. If you'd like to see our future parkrun adventures, then subscribe to the channel. So until next week, keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.